Picture this, a wild, neon-lit night in Las Vegas. A young, quiet, overweight businessman walks into a VIP club. In a single evening, he spends $1.5 million on champagne alone. He sits down at the high roller tables at the Venetian casino, wagering $87 million, once losing $1.75 million in just 90 minutes. He pays Britney Spears $1 million just to jump out of a giant birthday cake for him. He buys a $2.5 million Picasso painting as a casual gift for Leonardo DiCaprio, and hands $7.5 million in diamonds and a crystal piano to supermodel Miranda Kerr. To everyone in Hollywood, he is the Asian Gatsby, an incredibly wealthy mystery man with a bottomless bank account. But there is a dark, sickening twist to this luxury. None of this money belongs to him. Every single dollar of it was stolen directly from a national piggy bank, meant to build schools, homes, and power plants for millions of ordinary people in a developing country. This is the story of how Jho Low pulled off the largest heist in modern history, and how it all came crashing down. To understand how a man with no official job could rob an entire country, we have to look at Malaysia in 2009. Najib Razak had just become prime minister. He wanted to boost the nation's economy, so he set up a state-owned investment fund called One Malaysia Development Berhad, or 1MDB. Think of a sovereign wealth fund, like a national savings account. The government puts money in, or borrows money on behalf of the public, to invest in massive projects like green energy, roads, and affordable housing. It is supposed to secure the future of the nation's children. But Najib Razak made a fatal decision. He allowed a smooth-talking, young Malaysian businessman named Jho Low to pull the strings behind the scenes. Jho Low held no official position at 1MDB. He was a ghost in the machine. Yet, using his close friendship with the Prime Minister's stepson, Riza Aziz, Low gained total, unchecked control over where this national treasure flowed. And what he did next would shock the global financial system to its very core. With the keys to the kingdom in his hand, Jho Low needed a way to supercharge the fund. He needed serious cash, and for that he turned to Wall Street. Enter Goldman Sachs, one of the most powerful investment banks on earth. Between 2012 and 2013, Goldman Sachs helped 1MDB raise a staggering $6.5 billion through bond offerings. For their trouble, Goldman Sachs charged an extraordinary $600 million in fees, an unbelievably high rate far above typical market standards. But the bank didn't ask too many questions. Why would they, when the money was rolling in? With billions now sitting in the 1MDB accounts, Jho Low began his grand campaign. He wanted to buy his way into Hollywood's elite. He helped fund a new production company called Red Granite Pictures, co-founded by the Prime Minister's stepson. Red Granite needed a blockbuster to put them on the map. Ironically, they chose to produce The Wolf of Wall Street, a movie about rampant financial fraud and corruption. Jho Low poured over $155 million of 1MDB money into the film, a figure that later ballooned to over $248 million. The movie became a massive hit, and Jho Low even received a special thanks in the credits. But while moviegoers cheered for Jordan Belfort's on-screen crimes, a much bigger, real life crime was happening right under their noses. How did Jho Low move billions out of a government fund without anyone noticing? What you are about to see is the simple, devastating mechanism of a multi-billion-dollar illusion. The mechanism of the fraud was a financial shell game. Imagine you have a bucket of water meant to water a community garden. Instead of carrying it straight to the garden, you pass it through a dozen people standing in dark rooms. Each person pours some water into their own cup, passes the bucket on, and by the time it reaches the garden, the bucket is completely empty. Jho Low did exactly this with shell companies. These are fake businesses, often registered in secretive offshore tax havens that exist only on paper. They have no offices, no employees, and no products. Using fake invoices and sham investment agreements, Jho Low and his associates systematically diverted over $4.5 billion from one MDB between 2009 and 2015. The money flowed from the state fund, through these offshore shell companies, and directly into private bank accounts. Over $700 million of these diverted funds landed directly in the personal bank accounts of Prime Minister Najib Razak himself. The rest went to fund Jho Low's mind-bogglingly lavish lifestyle, bought under the guise of legitimate business success. But when you spend billions of dollars on a global stage, you leave massive footprints. The warning signs were everywhere. Jho Low bought the Equanimity, a breathtaking $260 million super yacht equipped with a helicopter pad, a spa, and a movie theater. He was buying multi-million-dollar penthouses in New York and Beverly Hills. On Wall Street, bankers began to whisper, how could a man in his late 20s, with no visible source of income, throw around hundreds of millions of dollars? Compliance officers at major banks flagged the suspicious transaction, and whistleblowers who tried to speak up inside the system were quickly silenced or marginalized. Yet the music kept playing, and Jho Low kept partying. He believed he was untouchable because he had the ultimate protection, the Prime Minister of Malaysia. But Jho Low forgot one thing: a secret this big cannot stay buried forever. And then, a British journalist operating from a small apartment thousands of miles away decided to start digging. In the middle of this high-stakes drama, a second storyline emerged that would shatter the entire conspiracy. Claire Castle-Brown, an investigative British journalist and founder of the blog Sarawak Report, began receiving tips about massive corruption within Malaysia's state fund. She didn't have the resources of a major news outlet, but she had determination. She began piecing together the paper trail. In February 2015, Claire's blog, alongside a major investigation by the Wall Street Journal, dropped a nuclear bomb on the Malaysian establishment. They exposed that nearly $700 million from one MDB-linked entities had been deposited directly into Prime Minister Najib Razak's personal bank accounts. The Malaysian government reacted with fury, blocking Claire's website and issuing arrest warrants. But it was too late. The dam had burst. The U.S. Department of Justice launched its Kleptocracy Asset Recovery Initiative, officially calling the one MDB scandal the largest kleptocracy case to date. Soon, the FBI was tracking down Jho Low's assets worldwide, seizing his super yacht, his luxury properties, and even demanding the return of the Picasso given to Leonardo DiCaprio. The collapse of the one MDB illusion was swift, but the human consequences were devastating. The true victims of this party pirate were the ordinary citizens of Malaysia. The billions Jho Low spent on champagne, super yachts, and Hollywood movies were supposed to build the country's future. Instead, the Malaysian public was left holding the bag, inheriting an astronomical $7.8 billion in outstanding one MDB debts as of 2020. This massive debt crippled national finances, eroded public trust, and robbed a generation of vital public services. Even global pension funds were misled by Goldman Sachs' involvement, leading to massive class-action lawsuits. But justice, though slow, was relentless. In May 2018, outraged Malaysian voters threw Najib Razak out of office in a historic election. In 2020, Najib was convicted of corruption and money laundering, and by August 2022, he began serving a 12-year prison sentence. His wife, Rasma Mansur, was also sentenced to 10 years for bribery. To make matters worse for the former leader, in December 2025, Najib was hit with an additional 15-year sentence and a staggering $2.8 billion fine for another $1 billion of one MDB funds found in his accounts. Goldman Sachs paid heavily for its greed, shelling out a $3.9 billion settlement to Malaysia, $2.9 billion to the U.S. Department of Justice. and $500 million to settle a class-action lawsuit. Red Granite Pictures was forced to pay $60 million to the U.S. government to settle their civil suit. But what about the mastermind himself? Today, Jho Low's luxury empire is gone. The U.S. Department of Justice has recovered over $1.2 billion in assets, and Jho Low himself struck a deal to forfeit nearly $1 billion to recoup stolen funds. Yet the man who started it all remains a shadow. Interpol issued a red notice for Jho Low back in October 2016, but he remains an international fugitive. He is believed to be hiding in China, living under a false identity, protected by those who still benefit from his secrets. The party pirate managed to escape the shipwreck he created, leaving an entire nation to rebuild from the ruins. It makes you wonder, how many other shadow figures are currently playing with public fortunes, waiting for their own music to stop? If you want to uncover more stories of financial empires built on lies, hit that subscribe button and join us next time on the Collapse Files.